How was practice?
It was good. Yeah, we had a really good day's practice and got a lot done. Steph practiced fully. Um, so good day's work, and we're off to Phoenix.
Still feeling good about his chances to play tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll list him as questionable. We'll see how he holds up, after today's practice. But yeah, he's doing better.
Just what jumped out from the tape of the Oklahoma City game, specifically down the stretch, those last 5 minutes when things kind of dried up on offense?
Yeah, we just couldn't generate an advantage offensively. Just running pick and roll. They're switching. We really couldn't generate a rotation defensively. So they did a really good job of staying in front of us, and we couldn't quite. Create scoring opportunities. So everything was tough down the stretch for us.
Where do you feel like you're at just in terms of, I know offensive execution has been a talking point, but as things progress, as the season evolves, how good do you feel about the progress you're making? Where do you still see room for improvement?
Well, I think there's a lot of room for improvement, overall execution, recognition of actions we're trying to run. Everything happens so quickly in the NBA, and the team that is a half step ahead is going to win the possession, whether it's on offense or defense. And so part of execution is being a half step ahead. And I feel like we've been a little slow in our reaction time, trying to get to certain actions, not quite having the pop and the force with a cut, with a pass, and it's allowing teams to stay with us. So that's some of the things that we worked on today.
Was that also true earlier in the season when you were like 12-2? Were you still a half step slow then?
Yeah, there were still moments like that, but winning kind of covers everything up. But we had some wins in there where we didn't play very well, and the same thing showed up on tape. But this is all part of the early season, especially with a lot of new guys, and putting in new things, executing a little differently than we have in the past with some things, different combinations. So we're still, figuring all that stuff out, and our guys will get more and more comfortable as they go.
In the past, you maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, you would have a second unit that played very differently than the first. Maybe you'd play more through specific players like Sean Livingston or whatnot. Is there a consideration to doing something like that with this group versus playing kind of one style, one speed all throughout?
I think, and I feel because we're playing so many people and we have a lot of different combinations, I still want to run similar actions with every group because it's hard to overload a team with offensive options. But what we have to narrow down is, with certain groups, what are the three things that we can run really well? And that's on us as coaches to get to that point. I completely understand the question, and we're looking at the same thing. But it's not going to be like, a different offense. It's not going to be, hey, we're going to run something entirely different. It's just let's focus on the options that are really good for this group, and let's execute those.
I don't want you to give away the game plan or whatever, but what might be some of those options in certain second unit groups?
Well, I'm not going to tell you. But I think what we have to get to is understanding personnel. How are we going to free up Moses and Buddy for good, clean looks? If Gary's in that second unit, what are we going to run to get him diving to the basket? Can we get Kyle posted up a little bit more? So again, these are all thoughts. But what's tricky is, we have a lot of different combinations night after night, and so it takes a little while longer to really settle into all these actions and these patterns.
Where are you and Draymond at in terms of how much he can play the 5 without another center next to him?
I am a huge believer in Draymond playing the 5, but for limited minutes. I think we're in a really good place with Trace and Draymond starting, letting Draymond play the 4. And then I like getting to Draymond at the 5 within the game, whether it's 10, 15 minutes. I think that's very reasonable and a really powerful lineup for us, especially if we have JK at the 4, Draymond at the 5. You know, maybe it's Wig, Steph, BP, Buddy, you know, something like that. I like that lineup a lot, and we'll definitely get to that more. But I'm not going to start Draymond at the 5, and very often, maybe periodically like the other night, but I don't think it's a wise choice over the course of the year. Happy Thanksgiving. All right, see you guys.
How was practice?
It was good, short, sweet. Made some adjustments, what we need to fix. Ready for tomorrow.
How's Steph look?
I think it looks good for me.
Coming off what'd you like about your game on Wednesday against Oklahoma City? 12, 8, and 5. How'd it feel?
Just playing with energy, effort, joy, competitiveness, high spirit. Just what I'm really focused on. Everything else will just fall into place.
How do you think Pat Spencer played the other night?
Yep, great energy. Brought the force. Played with a lot of pace. Threw the ball ahead. Shared with others. Made quick right decisions. I was very impressed with that.
Draymond was talking about how he's a very opinionated person in the locker room. What are some of your conversations with him like in terms of what he sees versus you see?
A lot of times we're on the same page with what we see out there. I think it just kind of speaks to our IQ, kind of similar what we think, how we think the game. But for me, he just kind of always tells me to be aggressive. We're a better team when, me and JK are aggressive, and we put pressure on the rim for me to make plays for others, for JK to finish around the rim. And that's just what he keeps harping on for me, especially when Steph's out. And so a lot of things we see similar, and so it's good to kind of have a role model like that thinks the same way as you.
And when Steve was talking about the second unit, obviously it's the highest scoring bench in the league. Highest scoring bench in the league, so it's not broken. But he said there's some ways that you guys can get guys in maybe more advantageous positions, maybe go to certain 2 or 3 sets, options that you like. What comes to mind when he says something like that?
In short terms, probably that me as a point guard need to get us organized better, need to play a little bit faster, and get us into things that I know can make us successful. So I just put that on my shoulders to figure that out and fix that. And I think obviously Steph was out last game, but especially in the Brooklyn game, we didn't do a good job of that in the end of the third quarter, early fourth.
Buddy, we heard earlier this week just how important having these 2 practices in this week were for this team to get back on track.
Right.
How do you feel that you guys what do you feel that you guys worked on in practice, and how successful do you think it was?
We're just too comfortable I'm just too comfortable with winning. And I feel like getting back to our principles, getting back to stuff we normally do, communication on offense, defense, executing down the stretch, and just finishing plays and doing all the little things that matters. Practice always helps that. Just trying to get regrouped, and so we can get refocused for this road trip we got.
Have you sensed opposing teams defending you any differently, either you individually or the team specifically, after the first few weeks?
I've been getting shots. It comes down to me making or missing. Sometimes I feel like teams do a really good job, and that's their job. And just like if I'm guarding opposing team, I'm guarding saying Grayson Allen, I don't want to get him no good looks, so I want to make it as tough as possible as I can. So yeah, I can say that. But just we're just gonna find ways to get easy ones and stay in the rhythm. And when I got the easy ones, I gotta knock them down.
Where do you guys feel like you're at in terms of installing like offensive principles compared to the beginning of the season, in terms of just understanding and comfort with offensive principles?
From past these 3 games, everything was fine. I feel like nothing has changed. We just, I said, like, just a little practice helped us just sharpen little things. Teams are scouting us now. Teams are we're Draymond always say we're back to hunt it again, because what they have done in the previous years. So every time you see Warriors, It's seen as a marquee game. You gotta be locked in, focused for. So like every game we can be relaxed. We gotta be sharp every time, you know. And it's a feeling like it's new to me, you know. Whereas every game is like a marquee game. Everybody just like mark calendar, you know, because what this team has done in the past year. So so now you gotta be more sharp, more focused, and more ready to play. And you gotta come with a certain type of energy because you have to match the other opposing team energy because it's at an all-time high.
How would you assess where your shot is at right now?
What do you think? I mean, percentage is not bad. I mean, like you miss out on one thing with the NBA when you're so used to seeing something over the span of 10, 8 games. You think that's normal, you know, and in reality, you know, sometimes that shots feels good and it was missing, you know, and I think it feels good to me, you know. I'm just trying to figure out. It's a long season. You just have sometimes it doesn't go your way, but then after that, it always figures out itself at the end of the road. So, what game is it? 18? Yeah. And you look at the numbers, 18. You say, man, it's pretty good, you know. But like to say the history of the team, and you're winning. They're so used to winning, and everybody makes it seem as bad. But I think I'm in a good spot to keep building, trusting the offense, trusting my teammates, and making the right reads, and making the right. Being available on time and just helping everybody score the basketball better.
What do you think is like a big enough sample size to start making like not conclusions but judgments on a team?
I can say after it always comes down like I would say like that after Christmas Day around that area to see how things are. I see teams get to figure out where they are in the first 30, 32 games. 40 games is like, you know, like where I'm at. But like I learned from Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle always said, like, you know, you want to see where you're at game 25, game 30. See what we need to fix. And sometimes, and if you're like, some teams get 500, and they're still trying to figure it out. So, and maybe they turn the table, maybe they don't. You know, they still be in that 500 range. So just trying to figure out where we at. And I think that we're a really good team. We just got to stay consistent with what we do and just trust our work and trust what we've been doing for the past month.